To understand the specifics of the game, you must know the game itself. And here's just basic intro to understand that. You can interact with objects, open doors, and then just traditional shooter things. Clip people, you can melee them. You have 3 different types of weapons. You have grenades. And then if you get injured, you can use health kit. Go around, there should be collectibles for you to find. And then you can also grab defenses, extra armor and weapons. You can find the bodies of enemies you've defeated. And you can... I'm gonna die right now. Nope, it's fine. You can take... The fun part of this game is the slow-mo, which allows you to take time, focus, and aim carefully. There should be one of the collectibles I mentioned over here. There it is. And just...
Sadly, this is going to be a short section and mostly just me talking. Cope is really hard to show from a player's perspective, since it's more technical, a thing the player more experiences than sees. Also, I am, quite frankly, too good at the game, as all my combat encounters are under a minute, which makes it really hard to showcase how Cope works. This is a clip from early on in the game. We're still in the industrial zone. I don't have any of the interesting weapons, just the basic SMG. As we start, you can see me sort of scanning the area, looking for enemies, and oops, I got spotted. So what do? I shoot it.
That's cool.
He backs away. He tries to vault over the railing. It almost works. But why? In his little computer brain, he looked around for cover so I couldn't shoot at him more. The only valid cover he found was off the catwalk he was on. So what's the fastest route to that? Diving over the railing. Then, we see 2 enemies going along a different catwalk together. As an example, this something in orderly advance. There are 2 or more enemies move in a straight line towards a goal, each protecting the character in front of them, in this case me. They keep moving towards this goal until either they make it or I kill them. I kill them. This is the moment where I say,
I'm getting flanked.
Make sure I'm not being flanked. And lo and behold, I was being flanked. This is a good example, though, of complex squad behaviors, which aren't a thing in the original code. They are just something that sort of happens naturally because of how Cope works. While I was busy killing this man's friends, this enemy had time to make his way to my rear. But how? Well, enemies want valid cover close to me so they can shoot me. I was busy shooting at his friends. I can't invalidate his cover. He can advance on me to the closest available cover right next to me. He would have gotten away with it if I didn't already know how the AI worked. If I didn't, this would have seemed like really cool, and like the AI was strategizing around how I was playing, which it is, but not as intelligently as it seems. Now I kill that man, I move on, his friends, there's a grenade involved, it's all fun and dandy, and we're dead.
Ooh, I might not.
Hello, hold on. Hello, and welcome to my little video on the gameplay of F.E.A.R. Now, I was really interested in how gameplay and, well, how the gameplay and art really interacted with each other. And that's really what I wanted to get into. Because even just here, I really can't even talk about how interesting the lighting system is. There's obviously some more static lights like this one here, but there's also those dynamic lights that appear when you have muzzle flash. That's dynamic lighting. This really helps with the atmosphere for the environment, because like you can just see here, all these lights, they seem static, but then you have this one here, that's not static, that is actually a light that interacts with the environment in, you know, a dynamic way. But here, you can see it's more used dynamically. Well, not in that example, but perhaps in this one. You can really see how it flares up when it's shot, when there's sparks on the wall. It's a really interesting mechanic for how the gameplay and art interact with each other. But there's also something to go into for the characters and how they interact. Damn it. I mean, the characters don't have many polygons. I think this is something interesting to talk about for the environment too, is that these are actually really low poly models, but they look far more detailed because of an interesting effect, and that would be in normal mapping and bump mapping. Now these characters are kind of bad examples because they've obviously been exploded, but you can see it far better with the environment. As you can see, these appear to be 3D, three-dimensional holes in the ground, but they are not. These are actually flat textures, and they only look 3D. So both of these have this same effect. But there's something I haven't gone into yet, and I want to go into this with this next combat encounter. And it really is the effects that are created for combat mid-combat, and that'd be the particle effects. As you can see, there's blood puffs and also all the smoke created from the gunfire that even passes through the body, and you also have when the bullet trails. That's another particle effect. These are all, meant for making the game feel like it's a combat experience. I mean, like, you make it feel like an action movie. And I mean, that's really what I wanted to get into with this, just to briefly summarize. This is how the gameplay conveys it all. You can see all these effects working in junction with each other after a fight and during the fight, how all the lighting effect works. It's all just really interesting for how the gameplay and art really connect to each other in this game. And that's what I wanted to talk about for this section. That was the end of my section. See you!
So this is a good example of the action section of the score and how the audio really helps give the fights this action movie feeling. You can see that even in the slow-mo mode, everything sounds really punchy, from the gunshots, the shells hitting the ground, and then that combined with the score really gives it that action movie feeling. You can hear the guitar, you can hear the orchestra bits. It's really got that epic feeling going. And then with the audio, you can tell that the GOP system is at work, because otherwise when you're like hiding here in a firefight, you can't really see them until they pop their heads out. So when you hear them, you can tell that it's working even when you can't see them. And even the reload is really punched up to give it that feeling. Yeah, you can hear some of the more synthesized bits in there that really give it that action movie feeling. And so, yeah. So this section is a good representation of the audio and how that affects the horror sections of the game. So immediately you can hear the quietness of the droning of the score that really adds to the suspense. You can only really hear your footsteps and the shake of the building. And then they use those little audio samples, obviously, to really add in the tension. The voice actors did a really good job with this. It feels like the way they mixed it, it sounds like he's really right up next to you. You can hear the buzzing of the lights. And then the score ramps up to affect the tension. And then immediately we go into here where you hear the heartbeat and the breathing, and that's the main part of this to really add to the tension. They really go for a less is more approach with this in terms of the background score to really let the sound effects shine